Hey everybody, welcome to a new episode of Walk in Faith. This is an exciting one. This is down my friend Benny Di Chiara, right? A fellow Italian
That's
who
right.
Benny and I know each other for several years, and anytime I get to spend some time with him, unfortunately we're not in person, but Zoom will have to do. So Benny, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too. Thanks for having me back. Zoom will have to do, won't it? It's not the same, but
I
we're
well, we'll
here.
probably see each other at NRB in a couple of
Yes,
months.
we will.
Yeah, back in Tennessee. But the reason that we're talking today is because you have another album that came
Yeah.
out on July 25th, Salt.
Yeah.
Tell me about that and what was the inspiration behind that, which I did listen to it, by the way. Your
Did you?
publicist sent it to me, which I'm not even impressed, but I enjoy it, but overly impressed by
Mm.
your talent, the music, and the reason you come up with these, just the ideas and how it connects to, biblical passages. So tell me about the story behind Salt.
Yeah. Thank you for that. So last year we went to Ichthus Music Festival, which is in Wilmore, Kentucky, by Asbury College, where that big revival happened. That's where this is. And the people who own the festival have a big stage, it's like a 400-acre farm. It's awesome. It's like a Christian Woodstock almost, right? Kind of thing. So the hurricane crushed them last year and just flooded everything out, and it did not go down. So Joe, who's the festival owner, and he and his wife, and he says, "What are you doing tomorrow on Sunday?" And I'm like, "Nothing." I mean, we're bringing Mick, my drummer, to the airport. He has to get back home. But then we have another festival in Kentucky next weekend, so we're doing all that. And he goes, "Why don't y'all come to this church?" So Craig, we go to this church. It's a Christian church in Wilmore, Kentucky, built in the 1800s, like stone foundations, little wooden rectangle thing, not an ounce of electronics in it, right? And so we go in and we're sitting there. Well, they invite us, they want us to do a song. So Mick's my drummer and he's doing a jamba drum. I got one of my guitar guys, Ross, he's on an upright piano that was slightly in tune. And, and James is on his acoustic and I'm singing and we got no microphones or anything. Sounded gorgeous, man. The sounds that this church made. And so they may have had 70 people in their church for attendance. So Adam Field, he was the evangelist and he spoke and he should speak at every church. The whole country would get saved again with the message he brought. And he says at the end, he says, if you need prayer, please come down front in the middle aisle. The entire church empties out in the aisle. And I'm looking, I'm in disbelief. I mean, everybody. So he looks at me, he goes, Pastor Benny, get your guys, we need to pray. So I told the boys, I said, looks like we're praying, guys. So we went up and we prayed over everybody. There was another woman who had a brain surgery that I was probably there that Sunday just for that because he's saying, have you met Pastor Benny? I'm like, don't you do it. But he did it anyway. And I was able to pray over them. We prayed over everybody. And at the end, they asked us if we wanted prayer. And I'm like, we're a band. So yes. And so the cheesiest thing came out of my mouth, Craig. It was like a Marvel movie. Like it was like from the cinematic universe or something. So I tell the guys, I'm like, warriors of empowered, drop to a knee and get ready to receive what God has for us. It sounds like a script out of Hollywood, right? But that's what came up. And nobody, instead of laughing, everybody just dropped. So we're all on a knee and we're in a circle. And the evangelist is praying over us. Well, Pastor Travis, it's his church. And he goes, Pastor Trav, take over. So Pastor Travis is praying over us. And in the middle of it, he says, the Lord has a word for you today. And the word is salt. He says, since you walked in here, you don't know any of my people, but you've prayed over my church. You've blessed us with your music. And God is telling me, salt. These guys are salt. And he says, he wants you to know what it means. So he starts breaking it down. And I'm like, oh. So, and he's like, the S is for safety. Jesus Christ knows what you are doing for him. Therefore, you are operating under the safety of Jesus Christ. And I'm like, okay, Christians of the world, where are we with that? How often do we forget
Mhm.
that we're covered? right? He says the A is for anointed, and you guys are, that speaks for itself. The L is for legit, legitimate, because you don't take his name out of your lyrics. When you listen to your music, you know exactly who you're singing about. And the T is timing, and you've been working in God's timing all this time, but your time is coming due. So be prepared to walk through doors. And I mean, I'm
Wow.
snot crying, man. I'm like, and the whole band is shook up. And so after it, I told the pastor, I was like, thank you so much, not just for the prayer, but for that prophetic word into us, man. It's just, and so thank you for the name of my next record. And he goes, what is it? I said, Salt. And he's like, yes. I'm like,
Wow.
and so the title of the record, the cover for our record's an old cassette tape, right? And it says Salt. And then it says Empowered Volume 3, because Mikey Howard, our producer, this is the third record he's done with us. So Empowered Volume 3. Plus, it was a nod to, Guardians of the Galaxy, because we're those kind of geeks. And but at the bottom's Matthew 5:13 through 20, which is Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. And what is he saying? Be the what? Be the salt of the world, lest you be trampled on. And it all kind of, so every song on the record, all five of them, are salt, or
Mm.
that's our prayer, that is salt, and that it affects people and it makes them go, wow, I could do that. So
That is a great word. Oh my God.
it's great.
So after you recorded the album, what was your initial reaction?
The um let me share this with you because we are such good friends, and I'm honored that I could say that. Uh, the one is the radio single from this record. Um, there's songs out there about how God will leave the 99 for the one. Mikey and him wrote a song called the 99 or whatever back in the day. And God was speaking to me about it. He says, no one is speaking about being the one that the one came for. So do that. I was like, well, thank you. That's not a heavy lift, Lord. So that kind of thing. Because, as creatives as we are, you just don't know, and you got to dial down and pray over it. And so he just erupted these lyrics, and I'm like, oh, and it's about how I was the chorus is like you are the Alpha and the Omega. I am redeemed by your grace. When I searched for you, you came and found me. I was the one. You saw my face. Nutshell, right? So I'm in the vocal booth and it's late. It's late because when you record, you're not walking out of there until 1, 2 in the morning and stuff. So it's a music thing, but it's late. And we're stacking vocals, which means you're just doing the same lines over and over to get the best take that you want to do. And Mikey's like, I know God's got another good one in there for you, man. So give it to me. I was like, man, I'm come on. So I said, all right, we'll do it. I'm singing. So I go, when I searched for you, you came and find me. And Greg, if anybody who's going to get this is probably you, the entire sound booth is black, except for some neon light where we can read. When I searched for you, you came and found me. And I throw that line out, and the entire room goes, whew, and it's the whitest white I've ever been in. And I'm enveloped, right? It's the whole room is white. This sounds braggadocious, but I hope not, because I hope one of your viewers or your listeners go, I see what you're saying, because if it can happen for me, it can happen for anybody. But so this light dissipates. So there's clouds to the left of me and there's clouds over here on the right. The most huge singular mountain, gorgeous, I've ever seen in my life is in front of me. With the haze at the bottom, there's a prairie, a green prairie that goes forever left and forever right. The greenest green that I've ever seen. So as I'm singing that line,
Wow.
here comes Jesus, and he's not strolling, he's rolling. I mean, he's in a robe, not like what you see in churches with the the Breck shampoo hair, nothing like that. He's like the rugged Jesus that he was, and robes are flowing, hair's flowing. His eyes look like clear amber with light coming from behind him, if that makes any, I'm not doing this justice, but that he had a smile ear to ear on his face. And as he's rolling toward me, he's nodding yes with his head up and down, and his arms are out like he's coming in for a hug. So I fell apart. I fell apart. And just immediately, I'm on the floor. I'm on my knees. I'm on my forearms. My face is planted to the floor. And I am uncontrollably crying. And I sort of realize that I'm caught up in a vision, but I'm just, I'm done. And then the next thing you know, I feel hands on my back and I hear my buddy Marcus praying over me, saying, let the spirit move in you, that kind of stuff. There was another set of hands on me. So I knew some of the surroundings or whatever. It was a 20-minute stop, man. Nothing. And when we got done, the I got up and the guys give me a hug and they're leaving the sound booth. And Mikey's like, you need a break. You take a break because I know, dude, you just, and I'm like, bro, I just had a visit. Let's roll. And I mean, it was on after that. And the when I got done, I came out in the room. Everybody was like owl eyes. They were like, because there was a palpable feel of the Holy Spirit in the entire studio. Like in the entire studio, all the guys were like their hair was standing up and they could feel like an energy running through their bodies or whatever. If people hear that song, my prayer is that they get to feel 1/1000th of what I felt in that vocal booth. And it's a victory. It's because we are the one that he came for. He's just been waiting for us to seek him out,
Yep.
right? And press in and seek him out. And so powerful. So when we did that song live at our when we did the song live at our CD release show, we finished it. And I'm walking back toward the drums, and there's silence in the sanctuary. I mean, in the church, there's silence. And I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, well, that didn't come across the way I thought it would. And by the time I got back to Mick, the room just blew up. And I was like, oh, processing,
Yes. Has that ever happened to
processing.
you before?
What's that?
Like, the Holy Spirit comes, Jesus comes. Have you ever had any visions like that before?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I had one. Yeah. Yeah. I get them. Each project, there's a different thing where I can tell that God's going to move on my projects because Satan moves bigger.
Hmm.
He doesn't want to see it. He doesn't want to hear any of that. Throat Punch the Devil is the last song on the record. That's exactly what it's for because my family came under demonic attack, not evil, demonic attack within my family involving my kids. And I was like, not today, Satan. Yeah, you hear that. I'm like, not today, Satan. And I so wanted to throat punch him and grab his spinal column and just rip it out the front. And people's like, that sounds really aggressive. You're a Christian. And I'm like, well, Jesus drove people out of the temple with a whip and flip table. So y'all need when he comes back, he ain't coming back as a baby. He's coming back with business, right? And so with a sword, he's replacing a whip with a sword when he comes back. And we're at a point in the world today where I feel like Christianity in general has been sort of wimpified a little bit. It's, hey, Jesus loves you. He forgives you. He doesn't, I don't personally believe he forgives me on the 20th time of doing the same thing.
Yep.
That right? Like a parent, like a parent. It's like a parent. So, and I think that even in Christian music and in Christian movies, there's always a nod to something secular. And I'm like so done with that. I'm like, Jesus is coming. He's coming soon. Look around the world. Look around. See, Galilee turned red a couple of weeks ago. Come on, somebody. There's something in the book about it. And he's just given us these signs that that time is short on this earth. So for those of us who've been blessed with a platform, our calling is to let everybody know, right? And that's all we're trying to do. We're just trying to point people to Jesus because he's coming soon.
How did that relationship come about?
He's we've opened for a lot of Christian acts over the years, and we opened for him and his band. Seventh Time Down is his band. When you don't know what to say, just say Jesus. The 99. He's got By Faith. Just these big, super big songs, right? So in 2018, we were outside of New Orleans for a festival, and we opened. We were the last opener before him, and we had a little song called 3 Days back then. And we decided, I told the guys, I'm like, we're going to go out of our set play in 3 days. So I'll share this with you. When you're an artist and you're a band and you're on stage, when you get done and you step off, you have two thoughts in your mind. One is, we should never do that again, like ever. It's just, nope, not doing that one again, right? Or, wow, look what God just did. Um, and we had a wow, look what God just did thing. So he approached me. We were taking pictures in between sets before they went on. And he goes, are you hanging around? I'm like, for sure. He goes, I want to talk to you afterwards. So we spent easily 45 minutes backstage just, when God's giving you a song, like, how's he, and we're just talking like when you reach a level of success, even in Christian music, you can walk around like, don't you know who I think I am?
Mhm.
And the coolest thing, Mikey's like John Schlitt, love John Schlitt. But when I talk with John Schlitt, it's like he doesn't have that, don't you know who I think I am? As a matter of fact, the first time I met John in person, I told him, I've been following you since your heathen days way back, right? With Head East and stuff. But the most impressive thing for me is your testimony, man. It's just, and he was floored by that. And so he, along with like Mikey, they have that. They have that. They don't have that. Don't you know who I think I am? Everything's about the kingdom.
I love that. Oh, John,
You
I love John's testimony and John's story is I repeat.
incredible.
Yeah, I always tell his story. I interviewed him recently because his wife and him they had a children's book.
Yeah,
Actually, was it maybe it was I don't even know. It was a book. I forgot. And it was a children's book. And just having them on and talking to them again and having that opportunity to tell him that, I always tell you a story. He was moved. He's like, you do? I'm like, how could you not share that testimony? He has such a powerful testimony. I mean, so do you.
yeah, yeah,
You also suffered a brain injury, which
yeah.
no. But tell me about that, and or also too, like the correlation between the healing process and now, especially now, your success. I don't say recent success, but is there a correlation between what you went through, what you overcame, and sort of the success that you're facing now?
Yeah, well, thank you for that. And success is fleeting and it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So actually, this coming October, makes 10 years since my brain injury. So, traumatic brain injury, hit the deck in my living room for some non-apparent reason. I didn't slip, trip, or anything like that. We did a 700 Club interview. Well, my wife did it. I just got to say some stuff. And she's like, I don't want to do that. I'm like, you're the only one who saw it. So I don't remember. There's a 20-minute hole in my memory from that day that I cannot, and I think it's God's way of protecting me from whatever was associated with that fall. So 10 years coming up later, I still have no taste and no smell. So as an Italian, that's
Oh,
horrible.
that's hard.
It is. However, you and I are having a discussion today. I'll take the win every single day because God spared my life. And this young man I was talking to you earlier about who also had a way worse experience, traumatic brain injury. And I was talking with him and I was like, listen, we share something together that we came through something traumatic, yet God saved us from death or serious, serious, almost death type things. So he's given us a platform to tell others that what he did for us, he can do for them. Right. So And since the accident, we're 3 records in, and he's God consistently. I pray over all of our projects, but he's consistently through the Holy Spirit will just feed me things and thoughts. And people go, as a creative, as a writer, like, how do you come up with this stuff? And it's really not me. I have an idea, and then when I pray for it, it's just he reveals himself to us through the Holy Spirit, right? The 3 days record, Jeremiah 29:11, that was audibly given to me by God in his voice in my living room as I was healing. For these newer records, because I'm way past that part of my life, he's like, I'm doing a new thing with you. I'm doing a new thing with you. And as Christians, how often do we forget that? We think that, oh, I've survived a miracle. I have a miracle in my life and I survived something, and that's it.
Yes.
And God's saying, I don't want you to, that should not be it. You be the blind man that Jesus healed on the side of the road. And he says, don't tell anybody what I've done. And dude runs off and cannot shut his mouth about it because even the rocks will cry out, right? So he's letting everybody know I was blind, but now I see. Some guys, they take their buddy and drop him through a roof in front of Jesus. They interrupt Jesus's teaching in this house. And what does Jesus do? He's so blown away that the love for this guy from his friends would be that they drop him at his feet. He says, pick up your stuff and walk, you're healed. Picks up his stuff and walks, and he's healed. The woman reaches for his hem because that's all it took, right? He says, your faith has made you whole. There's story after story after story after story in the Bible that God gives us as factual stuff because the Bible's been proven to be true. And if you don't believe that, read some more so he can speak to you individually, but get it together because he speaks to us through his word. His word is living, his word is finite, his word is truth. And the world wants you to think it's just a history book, man. All those parables and stuff, they weren't true. Well, guess what? Parables aren't true. But when they're spoken by the master, they have meaning. Therefore, that's truth in your life.
Mm, that is
And
good.
and people struggle to understand that. Yes, he spoke in parables. The disciples on the Sea of Galilee caught up in a storm. That's not a parable. That's a true story, right? And as fishermen, wouldn't you think they could read the sky and kind of tell it was gonna? But they got out there, and the waves are, and they're crying out for him, right? And you know what that tells me is, whenever we're in these tumultuous seas in our life, we likely rowed our boat there too. And at least they knew him, so they knew who to call on. Whew, there's a message one day. So if you're in something tumultuous in your life, go to the source that has the answer. And it's not drugs, it's not alcohol, it's not your buddy. Sometimes it's not even your pastor. It's him. What would pastors do today if somebody dropped a friend through the roof onto their stage, which I hate when they call it a stage, it's a pulpit. I think you diminish your position when you call it a stage. But if they dropped it down in modern day church, what would a pastor do?
Oh, forget it.
Would he stop everything like Jesus did?
No,
And right? Or
we probably
I
sit in
have,
security.
yeah, I have these thoughts. I have these
No,
thoughts. They're
I
all over the
listen.
place.
That no, it's great. I mean, first of all, I mean, it's powerful, right? And I
Mm,
agree. And I noticed too, like as you have this sort of this for me, this transitional period, which is what I feel like I'm going through now. Doors are closing, doors are open. And I feel
hmm
like God is revealing so much in my heart and my spirit. And the other day I was praying, I was like, in my prayer group, I'm like, I want God to speak to me. And I'm thinking of the way he used to speak to me. And the past I read 4 books in like the past 2, 3 weeks. And every time I open that book, I find something and I'm like, this is exactly what I'm struggling with or dealing with in this moment. He's speaking to me through these books. And then
hmm
once I felt and realized that that's how God is speaking to me in this season, like you said, these creative juices just start coming.
Oh yeah.
ideas start coming, and I see how doors are closing, and now no, sort of new opportunities are coming my
Yeah,
way. But it's that trust and it's that struggle. But I agree. When you open up that Bible, it's so living. I mean, I read the same book. It's got to be 10 years probably, and every
right.
time I read it, this specific one, it's like the first time I read it. He's
Oh
revealed
yeah,
something else in my heart, in my spirit. And I love the fact you used the Jeremiah 20:11, right? Was there
yeah,
ever a time though, I mean, I'm assuming, right? I know for me there's plenty of times where I doubted my faith, or what did you lean on during that time?
yeah. Get him. Like when I was by myself that day and I heard a man's voice, I was both frightened and excited at the same time because I'm locked in my house. Donna's off to the store because I had a walker to walk around. So you know me in person. I'm on a ceiling at most points, and it doesn't matter how high the ceiling is, I'll find a way to get there. That's just how I'm wired, right? And but I'm in a recliner with a walker to get around in my house so I can get to the bathroom. And I hear his voice and he says, Benny, I have huge and great plans for you coming out of this thing. And it happened several days. And the last day, he goes, Benjamin, I think he went biblical to get my attention. I'm telling you that I have huge and great plans for you coming out of this thing. So the next song you write for me, Jeremiah 29:11. And I'm like, oh, you're affirming me through my favorite Bible promise. That's what you're doing. He goes, yeah, yeah. Don't put the verse in the lyrics. People need to know that what I did for you, how I stepped into your life and saved it, I can do the same for them. They just have to press in. My wife came home and I am boo-hooing like a 3-year-old trying to explain to her that I had a visitation there too, right? And he audibly gives me the lyrics for the song. So I'm take the walker, go to my office, big circle, third grader scribbles on there because I was on drugs and all this kind of go back, get another verse, go back, big scribbles on my day planner. And that's kind of how that happened for that, which, I'm talking about it now and I'm laughing, not out of that just sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But tell me, is God not a ridiculous God when he chooses you to do something? He told a 16-year-old, all these older guys are scared to death of this giant dude over here. And Dave is going, I have enthusiasm. Well, in the Greek, the word enthusiasm means God within me. So he knows where his power comes from. And then the last time he checked, he shucked off. So what does a king do? Helmet, shield, sword, mail, weighed him down. And the world does that. And sometimes religion can do that
Hmm.
for you too. You get weighed
Oh yeah.
down with this man-made stuff. And God is going, what are you doing? I have a calling on you. Go, go. So David scoops up some rocks. Everybody knows the story, right?
Yeah.
And knocks him out. But they failed to continue on in the story, whereas at 16 years old, the sword of Goliath is probably as big as David, and he picks it up, he cuts Goliath's head off, and then he grabs that hair and drags that head back to the king. And he's like, is this the punk you were talking about?
I
And
love
and
I love the way
left no doubt. He left no doubt, right? He's like, here, you
I
want
love it. The
proof?
punk.
You want proof? Is this the dude? And what happened? What happened? What happened? The army flees, and then all of a sudden, Israel's army goes, "Oh, they're on the run. Let's go get them," and they go wipe them out. But how often do Christians need to see movement on a word that God's given you to be emboldened enough to represent Him as well?
Mm.
It's all we're doing. I mean,
Wow.
it's all we do. So success for me with our music is that if our songs reach someone who's going through something in one sentence speaks to them and can flip their state of mind and take their state of mind and if it's woe or me or what am I going to do or anything like that and just say when you don't know what to say, just say Jesus.
Yeah.
That's a 7 time down song. When you
Listen,
don't know what to say, just say Jesus. And therein lies your answer.
You
And if you
said,
don't believe that, send people my email so I can talk with
no,
them.
Benny,
Seriously.
you said so much. And what's interesting is when I'm fortunate and blessed, I've heard not I don't say similar stories, but let's say thousands of people I've interviewed by now. I would say definitely thousands.
Hmm.
Most of them, when they share their testimony, their story, when we hear about how God sort of intervened, like John Schlitt is one, we love his story. I mean, I interviewed someone the other day that suffered from a traumatic brain injury as well,
Hmm.
removed half of his brain, and he had a visitation from God. So it's like, since I'm seeing or hearing the beginning part of the story, like John Schlitt or your story, and then
Hmm.
now interview him again, 5, 10, 20 years later, and seeing
Yeah.
God really, first of all, he spoke to him, maybe placed something on, in his heart or her heart, and then I see that transformation. I know it's God. And that's the thing about listening to your story and other testimonies, to see and to feel and to know that God spoke to you. You had the
Yeah.
visitation. We see the success. We see how you're impacting people. And Christian music, especially, today, listening to some of it, yeah, I think about, don't you love when you say you're about to say someone's name and you forget them? I guess
Yeah.
it comes with old age, but like Zach Williams. My wife and I went to see Zach Williams like 2 years ago, and she doesn't really go to Christian concerts with me. And I'm sitting in the front and I start bawling. I
Hmm.
couldn't control myself. And she
Yeah.
was just comforting me the whole time because his music was speaking to me at that exact moment.
That's right.
It was so powerful. And
Yeah.
elevation worship. I think about music, just certain lyrics or a song that hits me at that exact moment. And I'm like, that's how God is speaking to me. And
Hmm.
music is so powerful. So I really
Yeah.
commend you. But you don't just do music. You're also involved. It's called the Children's Cup Ministry. Tell me about that before we go.
Yeah. So Children's Cup, when I first formed the band, this is 1997. Brother Dave King was a senior layman in our church, and he and his wife started Children's Cup. And so at that time, it was strictly Mozambique and Zimbabwe, and there were AIDS villages over there because AIDS was just rampant. And so they started care point centers, and they would bring the gospel to these kids because the grandparents were raising the kids, and food and all these kind of now they're all over the place. They're in South America as well. But bands have like Compassion International or these things and I thought to myself, I want to do something with this music, but I want to help them because my wife and I had given to Children's Cup at its early stages. And I asked him for a meeting, told him what I wanted to do, and he goes, done. I was like, really? Then the next 20 minutes was like, man, when you and Donna were dating, we'd watch y'all holding hands in church. And it was like a family meeting. And we've been with them. So off of all of our merchandise at all of our shows that we do, whatever, we tithe off of that directly to Children's Cup. It builds wells, provides food, provides Bibles, provides some clothing, whatever they need. And childrenscup.org is their website. And if anybody has a heart for helping children that are needy of the gospel as well, that's a good place to go.
I'll
So,
definitely advise people. So, Penny, how could people get in contact with you, find out more about your music? Can you share your website or your social
yeah.
media handles?
Yeah, so the website is rockin without a G, ROCKIN, the number four, Jesus.com, rockin for Jesus.com. On Facebook, we're Empowered Rocks. Same thing for Instagram. We're on X under that, and we're just using as many available venues so far as electronics go anyway, where we can reach as many people as we can. Time's short, man, so we're in a hurry.
That's right. Well, Benny, it's always a pleasure to, see you and speak with you, and I look forward to connecting with you soon. And I advise people to log on to his website, listen to his music, and just listen to his story. I've interviewed Benny plenty of times, so you could go on YouTube or any
Yeah.
social media platform and listen to his story, his testimony, and the interviews that we've done in the past. Benny, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. Hey, we're going to eat in Nashville.
That's
So
right. And our
we're
big
Italian. We're going to eat.
thank you, Benny.
You're welcome.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Walk in Faith. Always remember you have the ability to inspire and evangelize through words and actions. God bless you.